I could have never imagined like 6 years ago that we'd be talking to computers all day and like arguing with them, but like here we are. So I don't know. I can't predict 6 years in the future. I know right now that the people who are most effective with AI are already really good at their jobs. They're just using tooling to kind of accelerate their growth and how much of an impact they can have in their business. I think at the moment and for the foreseeable future, it will be just an acceleration of exceptional people and also an acceleration of exceptional companies.
Hey everyone, Matt Curl here with Apollo, and welcome to Rewiring Growth, a series where we pull back the curtain on how today's fastest growing startups are going to market in the age of AI. In this episode, I sat down with Max, the CEO and founder of Gumloop, one of the most interesting players in the AI automation space right now. We got into why so many AI tools overpromise, yet still underdeliver, and what separates companies that actually succeed with AI. We also talked about how Max is scaling Gumloop with a ridiculously lean team. This show is brought to you by Apollo.io, the end-to-end AI sales platform built to help modern sales teams grow. Let's dive in. Hey, Max, thanks for joining me to talk about all things AI and go-to-market. Excited to chat with you today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Tell me a little bit about Gumloop, its role that you see it playing in sales, the role you see it playing in AI. I'm just like curious, you have a lot of customers, you see a lot of ways customers use your products. What do you think is like the biggest impact you're having on folks? And why do you think a product like Gumloop is continuing to accelerate and have success in a very crowded AI space?
In general, it's letting people do more with less. So like you can keep the same headcount, but do the job, like do the work of a team that has 10 more people on it. But generally, I think our approach has been not over-promising. A lot of these like AI agent startups will promise the world and the agent will do all your work and handle everything and make every autonomous decision. But we really focus on the structured, reliable workflow automation. We're just helping someone who deeply understands a problem convert it into a reliable workflow instead of hand-waving a lot of the details away and hoping agents will solve it. At some point, like we're building towards agents. I think agents will be using workflows as tools. But at the moment, within a business, you need reliability and you need cost efficiency. So I think that's why most of our customers really like Gumloop, because they can just build what they have in their mind.
It's been a very common thread. I mean, even with Gumloop, we obviously have partnered with y'all internally. I've been on combo Slack threads with you. I've used y'all's product. I've been inside of it. I've tinkered with it. It works. But what you're hitting on is so important. There are a lot of false promises in the space, and there's a lot of vendors that are promising the world but delivering very little. I was on a call earlier and they were talking about, I'm not that wowed when I work with a product and it's something I could have built in GPT in 3 hours myself. And I think there's a lot of that in the market right now. And there's also a lot of products like Gumloop that have real value, real tangible like product behind them that are delivering real value. How do you see that buying journey with customers? Maybe even customers you're experiencing, like, are you seeing that you're, even in sales cycles, you're having to overcome that they've tried other tools that promised a lot and under-deliver? Are you generally seeing people try a product like yours for the very first time? It's net new. Just kind of curious what you think is the pulse of the market, at least for the markets that you're intersecting with.
I think a lot of people have been burned once or twice. We'll notice that in some sales cycles where they're like, oh, you said this other thing was going to do it a year ago and it failed. Generally, I think, you just totally burn users' trust if you promise too much and then even just once under-deliver. We kind of, our buying cycle tends to be one of two sort of experiences. Either someone they found Gumloop on their own, they made a free account, they started automating a bunch of things and they're like already sold because they can show me 10 workflows that they already have built that are doing an exceptional job. Or it's like someone in the C-suite who was told by their friend running another company how much Gumloop has done. So they're kind of already bought in because they have that like vote of confidence from someone they trust. But in either scenario, I think it's hard to sell Gumloop to someone who doesn't know what they want. It's kind of like giving someone a problem because it's like there's a bit of a learning curve. You have to get used to it. It takes maybe like 30 minutes to an hour, and then you get really dangerous with automating work. But generally, people approach us, and all that we're doing is like using tools like Apollo to like really qualify leads and understand what someone's role is at a company and enrich all of the data that's being like passed into our system from just this natural PLG motion we have.
One thing I'm very curious about specific to y'all's product is, the guts of what your product does could be used across a lot of use cases. You could use it even for engineering teams. I think, frankly, you could use it with people teams internally. But so many of your use cases, you've really narrowed in and focused on nailing, I think, some really hard marketing problems in particular is where I see a lot of like product value and where you all have done some really interesting things on the use case side. So that's specific to like SEO stuff, blog content creation, et cetera. What made you want to sort of narrow in and focus on a specific set of problems in, for example, go to market, as opposed to taking the same technology your product has and using it to go sell to engineers. As an example, like what made you want to focus on that particular problem set and problem area as your starting point for where you took your product development?
We're still pretty horizontal. I think some of our investors, for example, would rather I focus even more on like a specific set of problems, just because it's so much easier to go to market if you have like the ICP that you really know you're targeting and you're speaking directly to. But everything has been kind of user led. So I did like 1,100 customer calls last year, which was like the top 1% of Cal.com users. There's a lot of hours on talking to customers. And all of that was what informed the use cases that we targeted, like the messaging that we had. It was like we just built the infrastructure, and then we got to see what people were doing with it. And on call, and people would show me, they would explain to me the super niche part of their business that I would have never thought of, and how the workflow they built automates like 80% of the work. And then I would convert that into some sort of content that could be shared with other people that were filling a similar sort of role. But everything was kind of user driven.
With that density of calls, like 1,100, there's definitely pattern recognition that you're undergoing at some point. It probably is well before call 1,100. I'm guessing even by call 50, you're like, I know who I'm talking to and whether this is going to work or not. When you're talking to those 1,100 customers and you're farming use cases, product ideas, what they want, what they're looking for, when you think about the companies that are going to succeed in the AI race, or the companies that are really taking it seriously or can use tools like Gumloop most effectively, what is some of the recipe? What is some of the stuff that you're hearing consistently where when you're on the call, your subconscious mind is telling you this company is going to succeed. They have the right vision. They've got the right idea. What are the types of things that you're noticing as pattern recognition for those companies that stand out in your mind where you're like, this is the type of company I want to work with, versus the ones where you're like, I could sell this to you, but this is not even going to get off the ground. And I'm sure you found that pattern recognition. Talk to me a little about the DNA differences, the life cycle differences. I'm just curious, like what were you finding in that 1,100 sort of research? I mean, it's a very expanded research study. Like what did you find?
I think whenever people could succinctly describe what they were trying to automate, I knew they were going to make it. The only times I would lose hope is when someone was using the word agents was actually kind of a giveaway in the early days, especially where they're like, I just want an agent to do X, Y, Z, but they didn't even know how to go about doing that themselves. They just hoped the AI would kind of wave a magic wand and solve all of their problems for them. But when someone would break down like, oh no, we do this, this, and this internally. Like we have a team that reviews applications like this and makes decisions like this and pulls data from here. The more detailed they would get, the more I knew that they had a grasp on the workflow. And then it was super easy to convert that into something super scalable on Gumloop. But whenever there's a lot of like uncertainties or things you have to figure out, the problem there is figuring out how to perform that work, not necessarily building the workflow. So I would always ask them, like, if you could wave a magic wand, what would you automate in your business? And then I would just kind of ask them exploratory questions there to see how much detail we could go into. And within like 5 minutes, I could tell if it was going to be like an overnight success or maybe take a bit more work, or sometimes be impossible. Sometimes people would want things automated that just weren't possible. Like I want the phone number of every judge in the East Coast and like where they go, what their favorite like restaurant is or something like that. And I would normally ask, like, how would you ever do that yourself manually?
I don't know. You tell me. Go fix it with AI.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just throw AI at problems.
Okay, I like where you're going there. What do you attribute that to? Do you think that's actually a technical acumen challenge? Do you think it's a lack of vision challenge? Do you think it's operators that actually don't know how to manually perform their business correctly? I mean, there's a lot of dysfunction that can exist in businesses, and I think that what you're hitting on, I really love, which is AI is not some magical silver bullet that's going to solve every problem your company's ever had. It still takes knowledge and know-how, and you have to have a vision and idea. But, I don't know if was it all one size fits all? Like, was there a common set of patterns? Like, what do you think was leading to that? Like technical barrier, personality type? Like, what do you think?
Just, you have to know what AI is capable of at first, but I think most people kind of got acclimated with that after a couple months of like talking to ChatGPT and when it just became more popular. Generally, what I noticed is when a business was working, they knew what worked and they could do more of it and they could do it better or do it more efficiently. But when it was like still early days and they're like figuring out how to position their startup or exploring like a bunch of new avenues that they haven't proven out yet, that's when the uncertainty creeps in because they don't even know, they've never done it before and they don't know if it will work if they were to do it. They're just kind of hoping the AI will accelerate the experimentation, but a lot of the time it just goes nowhere. So if we talk to like a Fortune 500 company that has this ops team that does this manual review, like that's a perfect use case for AI because they live and breathe that use case. But if we're talking to like a 2-person startup that's trying to find PMF across like 3 different verticals, they might have a harder time putting into words what they're trying to automate because they don't even know themselves like really what the work what the workflow is.
Okay, so I think it's like a really clear almost template or, thought experiment for people. It's like if you have a known process that you can run today and it's manual, talk to Gumloop or talk to a company like you can automate it and it's like super clear. There's like a very clear win condition and here's how we're going to go do it and here's how we're going to templatize it and attack it. What advice would you have or what do you think about for the companies that are, especially in go-to-market, they're exploring something for the first time? Maybe even like Gumloop, like you're a brand new company that's going to market, you're a year or two old and you're figuring things out for the first time. So you don't quite have an ability to say, this is exactly the manual process I'm going through. I'm still exploratory. How do you view tools like Gumloop helping those types of companies that are in a different life cycle where it's less replacing a known, well-existing, well-run process versus helping create a net new process from the get-go? What advice would you have for that other type of person that's maybe not in a long existing, well-documented, well-thought-through process?
I would say maybe like invest a bit of time at the beginning doing it manually once or twice. So if you have like this new idea for an outbound campaign of like you wanted to target a specific niche of like bodega in New York and with a specific messaging or something that you're selling, just try to do it yourself, see what the response is, and you get a feel for what is good versus what is bad, what works versus what doesn't. Then you can scale that understanding up to like reaching out to 10,000 places across the country if you wanted to automate it and just like pump the numbers up. But just going straight to the automation without knowing what good looks like first, I think is dangerous because then you might waste a lot of time. Whereas you could have just spent a couple hours up front, like really understanding the workflow.
There's a wind of people that believe, oh, well, that's what AI should be doing. AI should be figuring out that messaging for me and it shouldn't have to do that first step and it should be doing the thinking for me. Do you think that world's going to come and we're just not there yet? Or do you believe that there's always going to be this need to critically think and to put it together with human minds, what the right approach is, and then augment in AI second? I live in more augmentation world. So my thesis is closer to yours, but it's just a perspective. What do you think about that? Maybe even looking 3-4 years down the line? Does AI eventually do the hypothesis and the experimenting and the testing on its own? Or do you believe it still is going to require, logical human thinking and good design criteria before a test goes and is rolled out and is able to prove value?
I'm also in the camp of like augmenting people who are already exceptional and making them even more exceptional with AI. I think we've already entered the phase of like AI being a bit of a co-pilot though. Like I do a lot of my planning and strategic analysis of problems with AI as kind of a sidekick. I'm sure one day we'll get to a point where like I didn't even have to prompt it. It can come to me with the analysis that it thinks I would want. Like I could have never imagined like 6 years ago that we'd be talking to computers all day and like arguing with them. But like here we are. So I don't know. I can't predict 6 years in the future. I know right now that the people who are most effective with AI are already really good at their jobs. They're just using tooling to kind of accelerate their growth and how much of an impact they can have in their business. But yeah, like I think at the moment and for the foreseeable future, it will be just an acceleration of exceptional people and also an acceleration of exceptional companies. Like the ones who are like kind of first to adopt AI have just there's a massive delta between like what the average company knows and is doing with AI and what like the forward thinkers are doing. And you can exploit that for probably a couple of years and just make massive gains on the general market.
With that in mind, like you've got a super lean team right now, and I know you've mentioned before you want to keep it lean, and that's like a critical thing to you. I'm hearing another part of I think your secret of keeping it lean, which is build around really exceptional people and make sure they're all high performers, and you're basically augmenting them to the max. How do you plan to do that as you scale? And when you're thinking about your own internal go to market execution at Gumloop, so the way you all go to market and sell, how do you plan to sort of attack that, keep that lean, keep it highly efficient? Make sure the workflows are automated with Gumloop. I'm sure y'all are dog fooding. What's just your thought when you look at your GTM teams, maybe even the types of leaders you might want to bring in down the road? What are you looking for go-to-market execution for Gumloop?
So far, I've just been kind of focusing on people who I like working with and who seem to be exceptional at picking up new skills and just kind of solving problems. We're entering a phase right now where I think we do need people who've done it before. I can just like we're scaling, and I could use the insight of someone who's scaled something like this before, because the problems change pretty drastically once you get past a certain point. We do use Gumloop in every part of the business, basically. Every lead that comes in is enriched and researched and pinged to me when they're interesting. Like our whole cohorts campaign where we teach people how to use Gumloop is fully automated. Like all of the emails that are sent out and the marketing campaigns and the adding to events and everything are totally automated. So we're definitely using the tool as much as we can to stay super lean. But I am feeling the need to grow the team a little bit for sure. Like keeping it under 10 people is really nice until you have like 10,000 customers, and then you realize you're outnumbered and you can't go to bed at 2 a.m. because you still have to like do support. So I see the value of like growing the team a little bit, but the general ethos of keeping it super small and lean and exceptional is hopefully going to stick with us forever.
Amazing. Last question. I've never heard of Gumloop before. Let's imagine, you're hearing this name for the first time. What should somebody have broken inside of their business? What is the pain point someone should have? Like, why should I go to Gumloop, his website and go sign up for a demo right now? What's sort of the reason I should find you all if I'm listening to this and come explore what your product offering is?
I think people should be doing more of the interesting work within a business, and they should have most of the busy work on autopilot. Within normally when a CEO is saying like they want their company to use AI, engineers know exactly what to do. You can turn to like a Cursor or a Windsurf and start using an AI copilot, but what is everyone else left with? I think they need some sort of platform or infrastructure to take what they understand and build something exceptional, just like an engineer would. And that's kind of where people turn to Gumloop to collaborate across a business, efficiently adopt AI, and build some really amazing tools.
Thanks, Max, for the time today. Enjoyed our conversation. It was a pleasure to get to hear a little bit how you're thinking about the future of AI.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
We covered a lot of ground with Max today. If Max's take on AI and automation resonated with you, follow him on LinkedIn or check out what he and his team are building over at gumloop.com. We've got more great guests coming up, so be sure to subscribe, leave a comment with your biggest takeaway, and share this with someone who's rethinking how they go to market and how to drive AI efficiency. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.